Prepare yourself for the heaviest dose of nostalgia ever by gathering a bucket of popcorn and, if you're of legal drinking age, a glass of wine, for the simple reason that we're going to be discussing the 80s hit The Family Ties in this video. Get ready to be whisked away to a bygone era as we fill you in on the cast from 4 decades ago. Believe me when I say that some of the show's characters are up to some seriously outrageous things today. Alright then, let's dive in. The debut airing of the show was on NBC on September 22, 1982. The idea for a new show that would bring in a lot of cash came to Gary David Goldberg one day. As a result, an idea came to him. How about we broadcast a program on a lovely family? However, let's spice it up by mocking liberal and Republican politics as well. To the receptive liberals, the concept may sound cancelable now, but back then, people weren't as rigid and open to new ideas. Starring Michael Gross and Meredith Baxter, respectively, the Keaton parents Stephen and Elise were the center of attention of the show. Their activism spanned the 1960s, and suffice it to say that they would gladly exchange a Republican for an unpalatable Pepsi bottle if given the chance. What could the director do to pique the audience's interest in the show? They should have a Republican son. This was a hilarious turn of events that drew viewers in and won their hearts. The sitcom followed Michael J. Fox's Alex P. Keaton parents as they sought to make sense of their conservative Reagan-era son. A politically astute young Republican, Alex exemplified a new wave of young adults who were determined to forge their own path, rejecting the liberal legacy of their parents' generation. Cleverly depicting the generational difference in the battle of ideals, the show was among the greatest. Family Ties was a smashing hit since it reflected a generational shift in American households. This was a major factor in the show's continuously strong ratings. Fans' adoration of Michael J. Fox's Alex P. Keaton propelled his career forward. He won 3 Primetime Emmys for Best Lead Actor in a Comedy Series because of how amazing it was. Additionally, in 1986, the show was honored with the Golden Globe for Best Television Series, Musical or Comedy. I will show you why I keep saying it was successful. The show consistently ranked in the top 10 of the Nielsen ratings while it was at its peak. Its solid foundation is the main cause behind this. Average weekly viewership was 13 million during its first season. By the middle of the 1980s, the show was drawing an average of about 20 million people every week. The ratings aren't the main reason it's called a punch of nostalgia. The reason behind this is that the show has become such a cultural icon and contributed to the significant transformation that took place in America. It was incredible how the show made people laugh while also bringing attention to serious societal concerns like economic hardship, broken family ties, and generational strife. There were 176 episodes over the course of 7 seasons, which concluded in 1989. Over the course of those 8 years, it utterly transformed the United States. With that out of the way, surely the adored cast of this program will continue to achieve success. Sure, but that's not all. You are probably going to be shocked by what we reveal about these individuals in this video. Now that we know how some of them became famous, let's find out how the sad ones became a symbol of hopelessness. The primary characters in the show should be our first stop. Michael J. Fox, who portrayed Alex P. Keaton on the sitcom, is ranked first. His rise to fame was brief, but his fall from favor turned him into an icon of hopelessness. Where did he disappear to? We'll have to see. In terms of familial ties, he became incredibly popular due to his outstanding performance as the ambitious yet conservative eldest son of the Keaton family. He was the eldest sibling of Mallory, Jennifer, and Andy Keaton. His parents were Stephen and Elise. Actor Michael J. Fox came into the world on June 9, 1961, and his performance in Family Ties helped him earn 3 Emmys, and subsequently for his fruitful tenure with the Back to the Future franchise. As his career took off thanks to roles in Teen Wolf, The Secret of My Success, Back to the Future, and Family Ties, he considered it one of his major projects. Today, at the age of 63, he has a net worth of $65 million, all because he kept going and never quit ascending the ladder. He did an excellent job acting. In subsequent seasons, he was promptly given $500,000 each episode after bringing up his belief that he was being underpaid to the producers. You must be thinking that he must be living the high life given his level of accomplishment, right? Can you fathom how much worse off he is than you think? His diagnosis of Parkinson's illness was more significant than his involvement with drugs or anything else. This was announced by him in 1998. And now he can't even show himself to the world. He can't even experience a moment of happiness, all because of this. Consequently, when we bring up topics related to family, we will inevitably bring up the house's liberal father, who was once a hippie. As a result of his charming personality and widespread fan adoration, Stephen Keaton quickly became a fan favorite. On the sitcom, he's Elise Keaton's husband and the father to Andy, Mallory, Jennifer, and Alex. Plus, they never failed to engage in amusing bickering. Michael Gross was born on June 21, 1947, yet his acting skills made his age seem irrelevant. Michael earned almost $150,000 per episode thanks to his acting and fan base. One would assume that someone with his level of talent would have had it easy in the future. In actuality, though, familial ties were more of a burden than an asset. Despite his ties to the cast, he struggled to land parts and only managed to do so in films like Tremors, The Untouchables, and The Big Chill. Despite his 77 years of age, he has managed to hang on, and his net worth is a meager $6 million. Now we may discuss the show's maternal figure, Elise Keaton, performed by the talented Meredith Baxter. Like her spouse, she had an extraordinary life after transitioning from activism to architecture. The actress's life, which began on June 21, 1947, is cinematic in and of itself. For what reasons was her life fascinating? It won't be long before you discover the truth. She did not have a breakout role like many of her co-stars on Family Ties. A Woman Scorned and Bridget Loves Bernie are only two of the several productions in which she has participated. The project that brought her fame and a Golden Globe for her performance was Family Ties, though these were fantastic as well. This accomplishment propelled her to stardom, as she was soon cast in numerous films and television shows. She is worth $7 million at the age of 77, and she too received $1,500,000 per episode, similar to her show husband. In light of everything that has transpired, one must wonder if her life was tranquil. She was 47 years old when she received the breast cancer diagnosis in 1999. It's almost a curse. After a decade had passed since Family Ties ended and things were bleak, she persisted, and with the encouragement of those closest to her, she was able to declare full recovery. It was fantastic news, but I get the impression that she enjoyed surprising her audience. The details she shared were quite astounding. What would your reaction be if we revealed that the mother depicted in Family Ties, who performed a very feminine role, was actually male? Indeed, that is so, as Meredith Baxter came out as a lesbian in 2009 when she was 57 years old. The fact that she made this declaration following 3 marriages and the upbringing of 5 children makes it all the more bizarre. She came to terms with her reality after some time had passed, and she revealed this on the Today Show. She took this courageous action not only to gain her freedom but also to encourage others who may be facing similar struggles with their own identities. There was a lot of support and admiration for Baxter's choice to come out. She said it was liberating and that it let her live freely and honestly. Her connection with Nancy Locke, whom she wed in 2013, serves as evidence of her identity. Now let's talk about the 4th member of the Keaton family, Mallory, who is certainly not an exemplary role model for the youth of today. Justine Bateman played the role of the daughter who is both style-obsessed and materialistic. On February 19, 1966, she entered this world. She was also a really famous child actress, which is an interesting detail about her. This was the most challenging aspect of her acting career since it prevented her from shaking off her child acting ways for quite some time. Her breakthrough came through her Family Ties. On top of that, she had more experience than most of the other actors. Her work on Satisfaction and Desperate Housewives was excellent. She became quite famous as a result of this. It seems like she would have it easy going forward, what with her $75,000 per episode salary and all. That is, until she made the decision to forego performing in favor of pursuing directing and writing. After a period of relative obscurity, she once again became a household name. During the time that Justine Bateman pushed for her firm position in opposition to SAG-AFTRA and the AI clauses in the proposed pact. She feels strongly that the transaction could lead to the unethical replacement of human performers with ones created by artificial intelligence, and she has spoken out about her concerns. In Bateman's view, this change could have far-reaching consequences for the entertainment business, leading to a decline in the necessity for human imagination and participation. She thinks that movies and the entertainment industry are creative forms and that robots should not replace humans in these industries, since doing so would render the vast human heritage of artistic creation useless. Along with other famous people like Hugh Grant, she has already spoken about her thoughts on protecting art while voiced their disapproval of Apple's latest iPad Pro commercial, claiming that it was insensitive and dehumanizing. She despised the commercial because it used the crushing of different creative tools as a cliché to represent how the digital age has ruined conventional forms of expression. Next up, we have Jennifer Creighton, the middle child of the Keaton family, who makes up the fifth member of the group. She began her acting career as a child star when she was born on May 5, 1973. She gave a terrific performance despite being just 9 years old when the show ran. Her sole major undertaking was Family Ties. Then all she could do was look for a job. Her only acting credit is a handful of forgettable cameos in other films. She stole the show. Consequently, she was paid $3,000 every episode by the show. She was 16 years old when the show ended. One of the most tragic disappearances in Hollywood history happened here, because the once popular star, whom all children aspired to be like, had suddenly slipped into oblivion. She has a net worth of $500,000 and is 51 years old currently. How depressing does that sound? I know you're thinking she's the most accomplished cast member, but that's about it. Someone in the cast will make you sad, and hearing about his current situation will make you sick to your stomach. Look who it is. To discover out, watch the video all the way to the end. One of the original cast members has passed away. For the time being, we may disregard him and focus on the other members of the cast who were not part of the primary family. One of the most well-known actors in that regard is Scott Valentine, who played Nick Moore on Family Ties. October 24, 1958 was the date of his birth. Nick was completely uninhibited and carefree, like the wind. His character was the defiant lover of Jennifer Keaton. The fans adored him, to put it mildly. His position in family bonds remains his most notable accomplishment, despite his appearances in films such as Kiss the Bride 2002 and The Last Dragon 1986. He persevered in the entertainment industry, although his efforts were mostly fruitless. Consequently, he devoted himself entirely to environmental activism after leaving Hollywood. He had a good life and is now 65 years old. Despite his struggles with typecasting, he is currently valued over $2 million. As one of the most pleasant discoveries from Family Ties, her name has long brought joy to fans. Indeed, Courtney was not a particularly famous actress back then, but Family Ties was her big break. To put it mildly, she refused to let it go. She appeared as the girlfriend of Alex Keaton in the film as a guest star. She was the star of the show anyway. Still, she made the most of her $1 million per episode salary. She became a household name after overcoming her familial ties and landing roles in groundbreaking programs like Scream, Cougar Town, and the breakout hit Who Can Forgive Friends. She has amassed a net worth of $150 million at the age of 60. Being one of the most celebrated actors of our time, she exudes an irresistible aura. Among the other surprises was Tom Hanks's appearance in The Family Ties. The character he portrayed was Ned Donnelly, a shoe merchant and close friend of the Keatons family. Surprisingly, he received $1,500 for each program in which he appeared as a guest star. Do you think it's real? The most revered figure in Hollywood, who has won 2 Oscars, made $15,000 for one episode. The films Forrest Gump, Castaway, and Saving Private Ryan were his most significant accomplishments. He received critical and award success for these roles. His net worth of $400 million places him second only to the show's protagonist, and he's 68 years old now. Last but not least is the much-loved infant who was born into the Keaton family, and it's Brian Bonsall playing the iconic role of Andy Keaton. On December 3, 1981, he entered this world. For 8 years, viewers watched as he grew up on screen, beginning when he was a newborn. When the show first, his career was looking good, and he even landed roles in fantastic series like Star Trek and Mighty Ducks. The stars would have aligned in his favor if he had given it his all, but life got in the way. Every episode he was in was worth $2,000. Even at 42 years old, his net worth is a meager $2,000. What gives? His life was ruined because he chose to do it himself. The late 2000s were a radical break for Brian Bonsall, a former child star who had previously been famous for his parts in Family Ties and Star Trek The Next Generation due to a string of legal issues. In 2007, while he was still a young adult, he was taken into custody in Boulder, Colorado for third-degree assault on his girlfriend. Their hearts sank when they realized the innocent child they had been seeing would act in such a way. Bonsall allegedly smothered his lover to death with a pillow during an altercation, but she escaped unharmed. The legal maze that began with this occurrence was only the beginning. Everything came to a head because this tiny guy couldn't manage the spotlight. The arrest provided ample fodder for the media. They came up with a plethora of ideas thanks to his prior success as a young performer. His reputation plummeted as a result. The first arrest may have put Bonsall on the straight and narrow, but he was back in the dock in 2009 for assaulting a buddy barely 2 years after his first. This arrest took on added gravity because Bonsall managed to elude capture for a whole year following his failure to appear in court for a related 2007 incident. Yet his legal problems multiplied and he stoked the fires by refusing to cooperate with judicial processes. Their substance misuse and excessive drinking, they claimed, were the root causes of the assault. Perhaps he had spent his entire existence in a virtual world, cut off from the actual world. The meaning of law, however, was about to become clear to Bonsall very shortly. In 2010, he failed probation, which was the dead end for him. He failed a court-mandated drug test for cannabis after his probation ended. This was an egregious breach of his probationary conditions, leading to governmental involvement and a druggie label.